Hi everyone, welcome back to Story of the World Chapter Highlights. I'm Sophie teacher and today we're going to be talking about Chapter 8 of your Story of the World for Books. Now let's get started, okay? So the very start of our chapter today was talking about North America. Now what it was talking about was a really important invention in American history. It was talking about the invention of the railroad. Now, there's lots of different names for this in English. You can call it railroad, train tracks, the trainway as well. There's lots of different words. But yeah, the railroad is just where the train runs, like the train tracks. Now, up until this point, there was no railroad that crossed the entirety of America. In 1869, they finally built a railroad that linked America all the way from the east to the west. It was the first time that had happened, which was huge for America. And there was lots of positives that came with that, but there were a few issues as well. Now, the first issue they realized was time. So up until this point, there was no standardized time in America. Each town or each city just went off the sun, where the sun was in the sky, which was a big issue when the railroad was introduced. So this guy here, Sanford Fleming, decided that we needed to standardize the time zones. So he introduced this in 1883, okay? So around 14 years after the introduction of the railroad. He said, let's standardize time. And we have 24 hours in a day. So he said, okay, the world should have 24 time zones. So cut the world up into 24 different areas, which would each have an hour space between them. And he was like, that will cause much more standardization in our time. So for example, I'm from the UK, which is 9 hours time difference from Korea. America has 3 different time zones because it's so large, okay? So this meant it was much easier when people traveled on the railroad. The time made sense to the sun and it kept it more standardized in lots of cities that were within that time zone. So if you traveled from New York to Boston, you'd be in the same time zone, okay? So like we said, the railroads were really important for the standardization of time. Also really important for ease of travel. It was much easier for people to travel to different places in America. It also led to modernization in America. So that's when a country just becomes more modern, okay? Because if we think it's a lot easier to travel, so people start to move new goods and technology and inventions. Things start getting to different cities, which can cause progression in modernization, okay? Now, around this time in 1879, this man had an idea, okay? You might already know his name, I think. He's very famous. So this is Thomas Edison. Thomas Edison really wanted to create light with electricity. So in 1879, he finally perfected this, which is filament. Filament is that little part you see in a light bulb that creates the light. Now, this was a super important invention because up until this point, darkness was still everywhere in the United States. People use candles and oil lamps. But if people were able to use light bulbs and have a connected, wired electricity, that meant that light could be much later in the day. So people could work much later. People could do much more when it was dark outside, but they were able to light their homes. So this was super important. So the main thing to remember here about the railroads is its standardized time, ease of travel, modernization, and also just about Thomas Edison, okay, and how important the light bulb was to modernizing America. Now, let's move on to the second part of our chapter today, okay? Now, the second part of our chapter today was talking about Japan. Now, you might know some of this already from further studies, from earlier studies. So if you remember, there was this guy here, okay? He's the Tokugawa shogunate. So in Japan at this time, there was still an emperor, but the Tokugawa shogunate was the head of government and had the most power, okay? He was the person with the power. Now, at this time, Matthew Perry, who was an American, told the Tokugawa shogunate, we should make a treaty Okay, we should make a treaty with America and allow Japan to trade with America. Now, before this, Japan had been very closed. We already know that. Had been very closed to trade and, allowing foreigners into the country. But the Tokugawa shogunate went, okay, let's start trading with America. So they signed a treaty and allowed America to trade with Japan. Now, a lot of people weren't very happy about this. They were a little worried, okay, what this could mean to Japan. And people like the daimyo, okay, daimyo are the kind of noble and rich people in Japan, were very worried, okay? They didn't like the way Japan was going. So 12 years later, the Tokugawa shogunate died, and this guy, Tokugawa Yoshinobu, became the Tokugawa. He became in charge. And he saw a lot of the issues there was with trading, and he was worried that there might be a civil war in Japan because he saw the daimyo had lots of power in Japan, and he was worried they would start to rebel. So this was all happening in 1868. The daimyo kept saying to Yoshinobu, you should step down, you should let us take charge. And eventually he thought, there's no way I can save this, and he resigned from his job. So then the daimyo took control. This is what we call the Meiji Restoration. Now, the reason it's called the Meiji Restoration, okay, is because the daimyo made some very big changes. The first change was that at this time, the imperial capital, so where the emperor was in Kyoto, okay, which is, if you know a little bit about Japanese geography, is a little bit more southern in Japan, okay? Now, around this time, the Tokugawa shogunate were really in Tokyo, okay? And at that time, it was called Edo. So the daimyo went, let's move the emperor from Kyoto and move them to Edo. And we will change the name to Tokyo, which means basically Eastern capital in English, okay? The daimyo put a 15-year-old emperor on the throne. They knew because he was young, they would be able to control him, okay? And that's really what they wanted to do. They wanted to restore Japan. So Meiji Restoration was in restoring the rule of the emperor, okay? Because in the Tokugawa times, the Tokugawa was in charge. The daimyo wanted the emperor back. They wanted imperial Japan back, okay? So the daimyo said, okay, what we want to do, okay, is Meiji Restoration. They also decided they wanted to learn more about the West. So they sent people to study in France. They went people to Britain to learn about things like engineering and study there as well. They wanted to, I think at this point, the daimyo realized how important it can be to learn from different countries, and they wanted to open up Japan more. And another thing the daimyo wanted to do was stop samurai from carrying swords in public. Now, this was a really big issue for the samurai. The samurai were hired warriors who'd really help the daimyo, okay? They could be hired, they would fight for the daimyo, and in exchange, they would be given land or castles, okay? Things like that. So the samurai weren't happy that they were having their swords taken away. So what the daimyo decided to do was create a new army. This would involve conscripts. Now, conscripts are when you sign up for the army, which a lot of countries have now. So it's like, okay, yes, I would like to join the army, okay? And they made an army out of conscripts, so people who wanted to be in the army. And the samurai really weren't happy, okay? So we have this guy, Saigo Takamori. He was one of the big samurai at this time. And he decided, I'm going to fight these conscripts, okay? I'm going to show the daimyo that the samurai are strong and they need the samurai and they shouldn't go against us, okay? So that's what he did. Him and a lot of samurai fought against the conscripts, so the new army, okay? The new military of Japan. But unfortunately for the samurai, who mainly used swords for fighting, the conscripts had been given guns. And yeah, unfortunately for them, the guns were much stronger than the swords, okay? Saigo Takamori actually ended up killing himself in honor. It was like an honor tradition because he realized that the samurai couldn't win, and he felt bad about that. So then eventually, after all this was done, the daimyo decided to write a new constitution of Japan. And in 1889, they wrote a new constitution. Now, this constitution meant the emperor was head of state, so the emperor was in charge of everything again. And also that in the Japanese government, there would be 2 assemblies. Now, if you remember from earlier study, this is very similar to what was happening in Europe at that time. So places like Germany having the 2 assemblies, okay, in government. So Japan had started to become more westernized at this point, okay? And that's what they wanted to do, okay? And on from there, people started dressing in less traditional clothes and became a lot more westernized, okay? Okay, all right, that's great for today, everyone. Bye.